Progressivism is ubiquitous, but one of the things that one of the so-called great progressives of 100 years ago focused on was education. John Dewey. What happened there?
Well, this new principle works itself out, and it changes everything about what you learn. Because if the past is by definition obsolete, then you read it in a different way, not as seriously. It means literature and philosophy from the past, right? So you don't, the long human quest for knowledge is altered in character. Now, a second thing is in college, in school, you just need to learn two things. You need to learn the human skills, which are reasoning skills, reading, writing, and arithmetic. But then you need to learn knowledge, a structure of knowledge of the physical world and of the story of mankind, right? Well, that's all altered now, and even the skills part, right? We're always trying to invent a new way to teach reading. And in any good school, every kindergartner learns to read. It's just, we have a bunch of charter schools at Hillsdale College. That's the rule, right? But it's a national goal. Bill Clinton announced it in his State of the Union in '95 that every kid should learn to read by the end of the 4th grade, for goodness sake. And the thing is, they can already read. It's natural. They learn to talk without anybody teaching them. And reading is just taking these sounds they know, cup, balance, right, fire. They relate that to real things. Well, all you got to do is take those sounds and relate them to marks on the page. That's why phonics works for teaching reading.
So what did Dewey and the progressives?
Well, they thought that all of that could be transformed. Human reason itself is not anymore a given, not anymore inherent or inalienable. And so we should experiment now. We should invent new methods all the time. And we should get faster and faster, and we should transform ourselves into something else, not into a good one of these kinds of things, but into a different kind of thing, whatever we want to make. See, and so that's why in the schools, did you know, more than half the people who work in the public schools are not school teachers, and that's a thing of recent development. Since 1950, the Friedman Foundation did this. Students have grown 200%, teachers have grown 250%, non-teachers have grown 700%.
So they've built this like industrial educational complex.
That's right.
And you really can't break into it. They've got the NEA and the AFT. There's this ancestral relationship among administrators. And what goes on in the classroom, parents and communities that pay for all this, and it's their kids after all, have less and less say.
That's right. So and see the legal licensing part of it, because progressivism comes into America from Germany through a few universities, spreads to others, and then spreads throughout the society, right? And so today, in most states, if you want to be a school teacher, you've got to get a certification that basically requires that you go to some department of education in a university, and they lay out, and they don't teach you algebra.
You're indoctrinated.
They teach you algebra for teachers, which means you might not know all that much algebra, but you know processes of teaching, and so they're deliverers now, right? And the great thinkers at the top of the administrative state can pour in ideas, and they go along with teachers who are like conveyor belts and get to the students. And that means that these progressive ideas are now legally tied in huge ways with more than half of the budget of every state in the union into a system that guarantees that it's uniform up and down, and increasingly tries.
And the consequence is the sort of thing we saw the other day, where kids were leaving the schools to join in a march related to the Second Amendment or against the Second Amendment. And it develops groupthink. It develops the sort of situations we have on college campuses where certain people with certain points of views aren't able to speak. So we get groupthink and we get conformity, as you brought up earlier. When we come back, I want to explore this a little bit more with Dr. Arnn.